The soft glow of Malik Carter's computer screen lit up his tired face as he sat in his downtown Atlanta office. It was late afternoon, and he had been working on contract papers all day. Between phone calls and emails, he remembered his promise to his wife, Tasha. "I'll send you $500 for groceries." He logged into his bank app, his fingers moving faster than his mind. His thoughts weren't on the transaction, but on the proposal waiting on his desk. He typed 500,000 instead of 500, hit confirm, and moved on. It wasn't until the bank notification buzzed his phone that his heart skipped. His eyes widened. $500,000 transferred successfully to Tasha Carter. "God, no," Malik whispered, gripping the phone. He immediately called Tasha. The line rang and rang before going to voicemail. "Baby, I made a mistake," he said, panic dripping from his voice. "Don't touch that money. I'll fix it. Just wait." He fired off a text, but silence answered him. He leaned back in his chair, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. Malik had worked years to build his business savings, and with one careless slip, he might have undone it all. He whispered into the empty office, "Please, Tasha, don't do anything foolish." On the drive home, Malik's chest tightened with every mile. He kept refreshing his phone, praying for a message from Tasha. Nothing. He tried again. "Tasha, listen to me. Don't spend a dime. This is a mistake. I'll reverse it tomorrow." But the little delivered check never turned into read. He gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles pale. "She's probably just busy," he told himself. "Maybe she's laughing at my blunder right now." But deep down, a cold unease settled in his gut. Pulling into the driveway, he noticed the porch light was off. That was strange. Tasha always turned it on before dusk. He pushed the door open, expecting the smell of her favorite lavender candles. Instead, silence greeted him. "Tasha," he called out, dropping his briefcase. "Baby, you here?" No answer. The house echoed with emptiness. Malik walked through the living room. Her shoes were gone from the rack. Her purses, usually hanging by the closet, were missing. Even the family photo that once sat on the entryway table had vanished. His pulse quickened. He ran upstairs. Drawers were pulled open, half empty. Jewelry boxes gone. Clothes missing. It was as if she had vacuumed her existence out of the house. On the dining table lay a folded note. His hands shook as he opened it. "Don't call me. Don't follow me. You gave me everything I needed." The room spun around Malik. He sank into a chair, the note trembling in his grip. Malik sat at the table for what felt like hours, staring at the note. His chest felt hollow. The silence of the house mocked him, whispering of betrayal. He wanted to scream, but his voice caught in his throat. Memories flashed. Tasha laughing in their kitchen as she cooked, her perfume lingering on the sheets, the way she always said, "Malik, one day you'll give me the life I deserve." Now he understood what she meant. She hadn't been waiting for love. She'd been waiting for her moment. He stumbled into the kitchen, gripping the counter to steady himself. "She really left," he muttered. "Over money." The refrigerator hummed quietly as he buried his face in his hands. The betrayal cut deeper than the missing funds. She hadn't just taken his money, she had taken his trust, his partnership, his vision of forever. He walked into the bedroom. The closet doors were open, hangers swaying like ghosts. The scent of her perfume still lingered faintly. He reached out, touching an empty hanger as if it could bring her back. By midnight, Malik sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the darkness. His phone lay heavy in his palm. No calls, no texts. Just silence. He whispered into the emptiness. "Why, Tasha? Why like this?" The next morning, Malik woke with a heavy head. He hadn't really slept. The note still lay on the nightstand, haunting him. He stared at it until his vision blurred. Every sound in the house felt too loud. The creak of the floorboards, the hum of the AC, the distant bark of a dog outside. Everything reminded him he was alone. He dragged himself into the living room, scrolling through his phone. No missed calls. No messages. Nothing from Tasha. He dialed her number again. Straight to voicemail. Hey, it's me. Please, let's talk. If you needed money, we could have worked something out. Just don't do this. His voice cracked before he hung up. Malik sat back, clutching his head. Was our marriage a lie? He remembered the fights about money, her complaints that he wasn't spending enough on her dreams. I should have known. I should have seen it. The walls seemed to close in. He stood suddenly, pacing. No, I'm not going to just sit here. I'll call Mama. She'll know what to say. With trembling fingers, he dialed his mother. Malik. Evelyn's voice was warm but instantly alert. Baby, what's wrong? You sound broken. Malik swallowed hard. Mama, Tasha's gone. She took everything. And his voice faltered. I accidentally sent her $500,000 yesterday. There was a pause on the line. Then Evelyn gasped. Lord have mercy. Malik. The phone call turned into an emergency family meeting. Evelyn showed up that afternoon, her presence filling the empty home with a mixture of comfort and fire. Malik's younger sister, Kayla, trailed in behind her, arms crossed, her sharp eyes scanning the half-empty house. Evelyn sat heavily on the couch. Malik, I told you about that woman. Always flashing name brands, always showing off on Instagram. She was never satisfied. Lord knows I prayed she'd grow into a real wife. Mama, Malik muttered, rubbing his temples. I thought love could change her. I thought if I worked harder, she'd appreciate what we had. Kayla, never one to hold back, leaned forward. This isn't about love, Malik. This is about greed. You gave her the perfect escape route. She played you, and she played all of us. Malik's jaw tightened. You think I don't know that? Kayla's tone softened. I'm not blaming you, but we can't let her get away with this. $500,000, Malik. That's not just money, that's your future, your business, your blood and sweat. Evelyn's voice cracked with anger. She stole from my son. No woman of integrity does that. Baby, you've got to go to the police. Malik sighed, staring at the floor. I already feel like a fool. Walking into a station saying I gave my wife $500,000 by accident? They'll laugh me out of there. Kayla placed a firm hand on his shoulder. Then don't go alone. We'll go with you. This isn't just your fight anymore. Later that day, Malik, Evelyn, and Kayla walked into the Atlanta Police Department. The sterile white walls and faint smell of coffee did little to calm him. They sat across from Officer Daniels, a broad-shouldered man with a skeptical expression. So let me get this straight, Officer Daniels said, tapping his pen on the desk. You transferred $500,000 to your wife, legally, and now she's missing? Yes, Malik answered, his voice low. It was supposed to be $500. I added 3 zeros by mistake. When I got home, she was gone. She cleared out her things. The officer leaned back, sighing. Mr. Carter, I understand your frustration. But because you made the transfer willingly, this falls into a gray area. Unless you can prove fraud, coercion, or intent to deceive, it's considered a marital dispute, not theft. Evelyn slammed her hand on the table. So you're telling me she can just take his life savings and run, and you can't do a thing? Ma'am, I'm saying the courts will have to sort this out, Daniels replied evenly. Kayla glared at him. So basically, she's gone with $500,000, and we just sit here? Daniels shrugged slightly. File a report. It establishes a record. Beyond that, I'd suggest a lawyer. Malik clenched his fists. He had hoped for help, for justice. But all he got was bureaucracy. He stood slowly, his face tight. Fine. Thanks for nothing. As they walked out, Evelyn whispered, Don't you dare give up, Malik. She might have walked out with your money, but she won't walk away with your peace. Cole Reed's office sat high above Peachtree Street, all glass and steel and calm confidence. Malik sat across from the attorney, twisting his wedding band until it pinched his finger. Cole scanned the bank records Malik had emailed and the photograph of Tasha's note. He whistled low. $500,000. That's not a typo you just walk off. Malik swallowed. I typed too fast. I thought I could reverse it. By the time I got home. She'd already packed, Cole finished, eyes narrowing. Listen carefully. Because you transferred the funds voluntarily, criminal charges are unlikely unless we can show intent, messages where she planned to deceive you, evidence she coordinated with someone. But there's leverage. You said this came from your business account. Mostly retained earnings. Good. We can argue dissipation of marital assets and seek an emergency injunction in Superior Court to freeze accounts she controls. We'll also petition for a constructive trust on any property she purchased with that money. If she's working with an accomplice, we can name him too. Malik exhaled, the first flicker of hope warming his chest. What do you need from me? Everything, Cole said. Texts, DMs, emails, her spending patterns, screenshots of her social accounts, especially anything flashy in the last 48 hours. And I want locations. If she left the state, we'll coordinate with counsel there. Malik nodded. I'll do it. Cole leaned forward. One more thing, Malik. From now on, breathe before you act. We're going to fight this smart, not loud. Malik stared at the skyline. Smart, he repeated. I can do that. Driving home, Malik's mind dragged him backward, replaying scenes he'd tried to file away as growing pains. Their first date at the jazz lounge, Tasha in a blue dress that made the room hush, laughing at his corny joke, eyes bright with curiosity. That's the woman I married, he thought. Then another memory slid in like a blade, Tasha scrolling through an influencer's page, sighing, Babe, look at this penthouse. Imagine the content. Our life could be like this. We're not content, he'd replied, half teasing, half pleading. We're people. People who should live well, she'd said, tone tight. You work like a machine. What's the point if we don't look like it? There were smaller moments too. The way she changed outfits 3 times before brunch because Atlanta watches. The sting when she called his sedan a starter car in front of friends. The time she dismissed his plan to sponsor a youth coding program. Charity is cute, but I'm not trying to be modest. But there were tender times he couldn't deny. Sick days when she made him ginger tea. A rainy Sunday when she braided his mother's hair while Evelyn told stories of Detroit. Christmas lights reflecting in her eyes as she whispered, Promise you'll give me the life I deserve. I promise, he'd said then, believing love and hard work could carry any weight. Now, steering through evening traffic, he understood, love can carry, but greed cuts the straps. Jamal showed up with takeout and a guilty look. He'd been Malik's boy since middle school, never shook easy, never backed down. Tonight, he lingered in the doorway like bad news. You eat, he asked. Can't taste anything, Malik said, clearing space on the coffee table. The house felt cavernous. They ate in silence a minute, the TV murmuring about traffic and weather. Jamal finally sighed. Bro, I've been sitting on something. Didn't know if it was a rumor or hate. But after what happened, he met Malik's eyes. Tasha been talking slick for months. Malik's fork clattered. What do you mean, talking? My cousin's girl does hair at this salon over in Buckhead, Jamal said, voice low. Tasha goes there, loud, bragging about waiting for the right moment. Said you were too careful with money and that one day he'll slip, and that's all I need. Folks thought she was playing. Guess she wasn't. Malik felt heat crawl up his neck. You're sure? I wouldn't bring it if I wasn't, Jamal said softly. And there's more. She been seen with a dude, flashy type. Gold watch like a streetlight. Name's Darius. Owns a piece of a nightclub in Miami. Reputation, smoke and mirrors. Malik stood, pacing. So this was a plan. Looks that way. Jamal placed a steady hand on his shoulder. But hear me, none of this makes you a fool. It makes you a husband who believed. That's not a crime. Malik stared at the dark window, his reflection fractured. No, he said, voice steadying. But it's a lesson. And I'm done being the syllabus. Days bled into nights, and Malik moved like a shadow. His lawyer was filing motions, but he needed something concrete, something human. Kayla was the one who found it. One evening, she burst into his house, phone in hand. Malik, I got her. He sat up, eyes bloodshot. What do you mean? My friend Keisha works at Hartsfield-Jackson. She swears she saw Tasha last night checking into a flight, first-class ticket to Miami. She was dripping in Gucci like she owned the airport. Malik's stomach flipped. He pictured Tasha, dragging Louis Vuitton luggage, flashing the smile that once belonged only to him. You're sure? He asked, his voice trembling between hope and fury. Kayla showed him a photo snapped discreetly from the terminal. Tasha, oversized shades, a designer bag slung over her arm. Looks sure to me. Malik clenched his jaw. The betrayal felt heavier by the minute. She really ran with my money. Kayla touched his shoulder. So what now? You just gonna sit here and let her sip mojitos with your future? He grabbed his keys. No. I'm going to Miami. Kayla blinked. Alone? You sure that's smart? Malik's eyes burned. Smart. Maybe not. But necessary. She needs to look me in the eye and tell me what my love was worth to her. Miami's air hit him like a wet towel, humid, sticky, alive with the thrum of nightlife. Malik tracked Tasha down through a contact Cole had in real estate. She was staying at a luxury hotel in Betrayal, the kind of place NBA players use during the season. Malik walked into the marble-floored lobby, scanning faces. His heart pounded when he saw her. Tasha, in a gold silk dress, heels clicking against polished stone, laughing with a bellboy carrying her shopping bags. Tasha! Her laughter froze. She turned, eyes widening. Malik! The bellboy paused, sensing the tension. Tasha waved him off quickly, clutching her purse. What are you doing here? Malik's voice was low, tight with pain. I could ask you the same thing. You cleaned out our house, drained my account, and ran to Miami like a thief. She straightened her shoulders. Don't dramatize it. You gave me that money, and I'm finally free to live the life I deserve. Malik's hands shook. Free? By betraying your vows? By stealing from the man who trusted you? Trusted? She scoffed. You controlled every dime. The words cut deeper than knives. Strangers in the lobby glanced their way, sensing the storm. Malik stepped closer, voice breaking. I gave you love, Tasha. I gave you everything I had. Wasn't that enough? Her face hardened. Love doesn't pay for Louis Vuitton. The argument exploded in the middle of the lobby. Malik's pain spilled into anger. So that's it. Years of marriage, thrown away for handbags and hotels. Tasha's voice rose, drawing stares. Don't act like some victim. You knew what I wanted. I told you from the beginning, I wanted more. You chose to ignore me. You wanted more? Malik barked. Then work for it. Build something with me. Don't bleed me dry like some parasite. Her eyes blazed. I don't owe you an explanation. That money is mine now. Gasps rippled around them. Malik shook his head in disbelief. Yours? You didn't earn a cent of it. Tasha's lips curled in a smirk. Maybe not. But you gave it to me. And that's on you. The words echoed like a gavel strike. Malik stood frozen, the weight of her betrayal pressing into his chest. For a moment, he considered walking away, letting the courts handle it. But then a name dropped from her lips like poison. Besides, she added carelessly, Darius knows how to make it grow. You'll see his clubs all over the news soon. That's real money moves. Malik stiffened. Darius? Who the hell is Darius? She turned, dismissing him like yesterday's news. Someone who understands me better than you ever did. The marble lobby went silent except for the pounding in Malik's ears. In that moment, he realized Tasha hadn't just left for money. She had left for another man. Malik couldn't get the name Darius out of his head. Back in Atlanta, Cole pulled some strings. A week later, he called Malik into his office, sliding a folder across the table. You were right to be suspicious. Darius Montgomery, nightclub owner, flashy lifestyle. But it's all smoke. He's got lawsuits stacked up in Miami and Atlanta. Investors claim he scammed them out of thousands. Malik flipped through the papers, his stomach twisting. Photos of Tasha and Darius stepping out of a Rolls-Royce, her hand tucked in his, both laughing like life had finally crowned them royalty. This was never about you, Malik, Cole said carefully. It was about opportunity. She saw an escape hatch and grabbed it. Malik's fists clenched. So she traded our marriage for a scammer? Looks like it. And worse, your money's in the mix. Cole tapped a document. We traced part of that $500,000 to a wire transfer into one of Darius's shell accounts. If he goes down, she goes with him. The betrayal seared through Malik's chest like fire. All those nights Tasha had sworn, I'm with you forever. All those promises of loyalty. Lies. All of them. He leaned back, eyes wet but burning with resolve. Then we fight. If she wants to be tied to a criminal, fine. But I won't let her bury me with him. Back home, Malik's world felt like it was crumbling. Business partners started pulling out of deals, whispering about his domestic scandal. Employees avoided eye contact, afraid to say the wrong thing. Clients called, asking if he was stable enough to handle contracts. One night, Malik sat alone in his office, staring at the city lights. His reflection in the glass looked like a stranger, tired, betrayed, hollow. He buried his face in his hands. Maybe I should just walk away. Let her have it. Start over somewhere else. A soft knock pulled him from his thoughts. Evelyn stepped inside with a tray of food. Baby, you can't keep starving yourself like this. I'm fine, Mama. His voice cracked. She set the tray down, touching his shoulder. No, you're not. But listen to me. Storms don't last forever. This woman might have taken your money, but don't let her take your soul too. Tears stung his eyes. I thought she loved me. She loved what you could give her, Evelyn said firmly. That's not love, it's hunger. And hunger never gets full. Malik swallowed hard. Kayla joined them, her arms crossed. Big bro, you gonna let this woman destroy everything you built? No. We're Carters. We fight back. Malik looked at them both, something stirring inside. His family hadn't given up on him. Maybe he shouldn't give up on himself. He sat up straighter, his voice steadier. All right. Enough crying. Time to fight smart. The very next morning, Cole filed emergency motions in court to freeze joint marital accounts and trace the flow of Malik's funds. Malik gathered every receipt, bank statement, and screenshot he could find. Kayla spent nights combing through Tasha's Instagram, flagging every designer purchase. Soon, the walls began to close in on Tasha. Luxury shops called to verify cards, banks flagged suspicious wires, and whispers of investigations spread through Miami nightlife. Meanwhile, Malik found his own strength returning. He visited his office and faced his employees. "I know you've heard things," he told them honestly. "Yes, my wife left. Yes, she took money. But this company isn't collapsing. We're not defined by scandal. We're defined by grit. And if you stay with me, I promise we'll come out stronger." The room was silent at first. Then Jamal clapped, others followed, and soon the office filled with cautious but loyal applause. That night, Malik sat with Cole reviewing strategy. "We're going to corner her," Cole said. "If she thinks she can play the victim in divorce court, she'll be in for a surprise." Malik nodded. "Good. Because I'm done begging her to come back. This isn't about saving the marriage anymore. It's about saving myself." For the first time in weeks, Malik allowed himself a small smile. He was no longer just the man Tasha betrayed. He was the man who would rise again. The Fulton County Superior Court buzzed with tension. Reporters milled outside, hungry for a headline. "Atlanta businessman's wife flees with $500,000. Malik sat beside Cole at the plaintiff's table, his heart pounding like a drum. Across the aisle, Tasha appeared in a sleek black dress, lips painted crimson, confidence radiating. She didn't look like a woman on trial. She looked like she was walking into a fashion show. Her lawyer, a sharp-tongued woman named Carla, stood first. "Your Honor, my client, Mrs. Carter, is entitled to half of all marital assets. She was a homemaker who supported Mr. Carter emotionally while he built his business. The $500,000 transfer was not theft. It was a gift from husband to wife." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Malik's jaw clenched, but Cole calmly rose. "Your Honor, we intend to prove Mrs. Carter withdrew and misused marital assets under fraudulent circumstances. We will show that she conspired with a known fraudster, Darius Montgomery, to siphon money from Mr. Carter's business for personal gain. That is not partnership. It is betrayal." The judge raised an eyebrow, glancing between Malik and Tasha. "This will be an interesting case," he murmured. Tasha smirked at Malik across the room, her eyes daring him to break. Malik held her gaze, pain tightening his chest. "You won't win this time," he thought. "Not here." Day 2 of testimony flipped the case on its head. Cole called a witness, Keisha, Kayla's friend from the airport. On the stand, she confirmed, "I saw Mrs. Carter at the airport with luxury luggage. She was bragging about a first-class ticket to Miami, saying, 'This is just the beginning.'" Then Cole revealed the smoking gun, screenshots of Tasha's private messages to Darius. On the projector, the words blazed for everyone to see. He slipped. $500,000 in my account. We're set, babe. Malik will never see this coming." The courtroom gasped. Even Carla shifted uncomfortably, whispering frantically to Tasha. Tasha's face flushed crimson, but she tried to maintain her composure. "Those messages were jokes. Just playful banter," she said weakly. Cole pounced. "Jokes? Then why did you immediately transfer $300,000 to an offshore account linked to Darius Montgomery's nightclub ventures? That doesn't sound like a joke, Mrs. Carter. That sounds like fraud." The judge leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Do you have an explanation, Mrs. Carter?" Tasha stammered. I was just investing." Laughter rippled through the audience until the judge banged his gavel. Malik sat quietly, his heart heavy. The woman he once vowed to protect now looked like a stranger unraveling before the world. The final day of trial arrived with storm clouds gathering over Atlanta. Malik sat stone still as the judge read his ruling. After reviewing the evidence, it is clear Mrs. Carter withdrew and misused marital assets in collaboration with a third party. The court orders Mrs. Carter to return any remaining funds, totaling $197,000, and denies her request for spousal support. Furthermore, any future claims to Mr. Carter's business holdings are hereby dismissed. The gavel slammed. Court is adjourned. The room erupted, reporters scribbling, whispers flying. Tasha's face twisted with rage. She spun toward Malik. You think you've won? You ruined me. Malik stood slowly, his voice steady. No, Tasha. You ruined yourself. I just stopped you from taking me down with you. She glared, tears smudging her makeup. You'll regret this. Cole leaned in, whispering to Malik. Don't respond. Walk out with your head high. Malik obeyed, stepping past the reporters, past the flashing cameras, past the wreckage of what was once his marriage. For the first time in weeks, he felt a strange peace. The storm hadn't destroyed him, it had revealed him. The weeks after the verdict were quiet, almost eerily so. Malik returned to his house, still half empty from when Tasha cleared it out, but it no longer felt like a tomb. It felt like a place waiting to be rebuilt. He started small. New curtains in the living room. A fresh coat of paint in the kitchen. A bookshelf stacked with titles about resilience, finance, and faith. Kayla dropped by often, teasing him. Big bro, look at you turning into Mr. DIY. Never thought I'd see the day. Malik chuckled. Guess betrayal is the best motivator for home improvement. Evelyn, though, remained his rock. Every Sunday she cooked for him, and they sat on the porch with sweet tea, watching the neighborhood kids ride bikes. You see, she told him one evening, life keeps moving. You just gotta decide whether you're gonna move with it. Malik nodded, sipping slowly. He realized she was right. The $500,000 was a scar, yes, but it wasn't a death sentence. He still had his business. He still had his family. And most importantly, he still had himself. At night, he prayed not for Tasha's downfall but for his own healing. He whispered into the silence, I forgive you, Tasha. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. And with that, a burden lifted. 1 year later, Malik stood inside a bustling community center he had helped fund through his business. Children laughed as they built robots in a coding workshop. Parents clapped as teenagers presented business ideas. The walls were lined with posters, financial literacy for families. Building wealth, building futures. Malik smiled as he shook hands with a young man. You're gonna change lives, kid. Keep pushing. Jamal walked up, grinning. Look at you, Professor Malik. Turning pain into purpose. Malik laughed. Better than turning it into bitterness. Kayla joined them, handing Malik a flyer for an upcoming seminar. Guess who's the keynote speaker? Mr. Carter himself. Malik raised an eyebrow. Public speaking now? You trying to set me up? She smirked. No, I'm setting you free. As he looked around the center, Malik realized how far he'd come. The betrayal, the courtroom battles, the headlines, all of it had led him here, stronger and wiser. He thought of Tasha for the first time in months, but there was no sting this time, only clarity. She thought she stole my life. But really, she gave me a second chance at it. Malik turned to the kids in the room, their laughter echoing like music. All right, he said softly to himself. Time to build something new. And for the first time in a long time, he felt whole.